Hello, fellow human! Welcome back to another Dank Doggo r/slash ProRevenge. So, our revenge for today is from u/throwaway 1267990 with the title of Neighbor's Dog Attacked Coworker's Cat, Coworker Ruins Their Christmas. Quick note, I was part of this story, but not the dealer nor receiver of the revenge. Years ago, I used to work with a receptionist in a vet clinic named Margaret. Margaret was, and still is, a very sweet 65 years old woman who had been at this practice since it was opened some 40 years ago. She always had a smile, a joke, compliments, and baked goods for your birthday. She never had an unkind word to say about anyone. She was seriously one of the coolest people I had ever worked with, and she basically knew everyone, from our regular clients to our mailman's granddaughter. The only bad thing about Margaret, and this was not her fault, was that she and her family lived next to one of the trashiest, nastiest families I had ever met, that even had two even nastier pit bulls. I'm talking about nastier than Stubb had been hoarding by dung beetles for years nasty. And these dogs were constantly escaping, terrorizing the neighborhood, and even trying to get into her house. Margaret had asked them more than once to please keep the dogs contained, especially since she had an elderly fat cat named Smokestack, and these pits had attacked smaller animals before. The family basically told her to rot in hell, that they knew that what they were doing, and how dare she accuse the breed, yada yada, basically blowing her off. Margaret knew that there had been reports filed against her neighbors, but nothing had ever been done about it really. So she made sure to keep Smokestack in the house to keep him safe and was very careful to not let him out. If you had been paying attention up until this point, you'll notice I'm using the word was and had regarding old Smokestack. And it was as awful as you think. 3 weeks before Christmas, Margaret had the day off and was in the garage with Smokestack, fiddling with some Christmas decorations. Unbeknownst to her, the pit's door got out and broke through the bottom of her garage door. They went right for Smokestack before she could blink and start to tear the cat apart. Margaret screamed for help, and it was only when her son and husband came out of a baseball bat and they were able to free Smokestack from the jaws of these dogs. I was working this day and will never forget when she came in crying harder than I had ever seen anyone cry in my life, clutching poor dying Smokestack in her arms. Her husband had to hold her while we tried to bring Smokestack back, but we couldn't do it. It would have been taking a miracle of a god. And then he passed away. A truly crap way to go in what should have been the golden years of his fat cat life. Margaret sat there for a while with his mangled body, quiet crying for a while, before she finally kissed whatever part of him was still intact and stood up. She told us all, "I've got a job to do. Take care of him, girls," and then left. We figured Margaret would have to take a few days off to be with her family and then continue on with life as normal. We figured wrong. Now, when I say Margaret knew everyone, I mean everyone. Right after she left the hospital, Margaret gathered herself up and went to the police with pictures of poor Smokestack and told her story. The same police officers she had watched grow up over the last 20 years, from rowdy middle schoolers she used to help babysit to the officers they were today. They were absolutely shocked to hear what had happened to their cigarette grandma and pushed her case to the front of the line. The case found itself before a judge whose daughter had gone to school with Margaret's daughter. The judge granted an emergency dangerous animal extraction to her neighbors. Of course, there was a hearing. Within 2 weeks, which I gotta admit was ridiculously fast. The neighbors tried to argue their dog weren't even aggressive. They even went so far as to accuse of Margaret of having it out for their family and making it all up. But their argument trickled when the dozens of dangerous animal reports were presented, and finally completely dried out when Margaret presented the surveillance video her grandson had gotten showing the dogs coming into her property and attacking poor Smokestack. The emergency extraction and humane destruction of her neighbor's dogs was granted. It was Christmas Eve when Margaret heard a knock on her door. She opened it up to see the neighbor standing there, sobbing uncontrollably. They were begging her to stop animal control, that they had these dogs since they were puppies, how the kids could have been devastated, and it would ruin Christmas, and if she could find in her heart to give the dogs another chance. Up until this moment, the neighbors had behaved abnormally. They didn't offer to fix the garage. They never apologized for trying to slander her name in court. Hell, they didn't even try to pay for Smokestack to be cremated. At no point they had even shown the slightest shred of remorse for what damage their dogs had done. And as the neighbor stood there, blubbering and whimpering about how this was going to ruin their Christmas, Margaret looked them straight in the eye and told them in her calmest voice, "You took away my family, so now I'm taking yours," and shut the door in their face just as animal control pulled up onto the driveway. Margaret was not surprised as she watched the dogs get hauled into the truck and taken away. After all, it was her idea for animal control to take the dogs on Christmas Eve, a perk from having known the AC officer's supervisors for years. Margaret even made sure the dogs were euthanized before the outside Christmas lights turned on that night. The family never received the remains, nor did they ever get a chance to bring another animal into their family, as the father proceeded to drunk drive into a telephone pole that same night, killing him instantly. Mom went out into the deep end, so CPS picked up the kids by February, and ultimately, the house foreclosed in September. Despite how traumatic Smokestack's death was, I'd like to think that if the neighbor had shown at least some regret, Margaret might have not gone as far as she did. She was, and still, the person to forgive and forget. Or maybe she ultimately knew it had to be done to push at this point of no return before another family lost a member to these irresponsible neighbors. Either way, thank you, Margaret, for making the world for a little bit safer for the pets in the world. And rest in peace, Smokestack. Hopefully I will see you on the other side with your favorite orange sock and a can of tuna. TLDR, coworker's cat is killed by neighbor's dogs. Coworkers destroys neighbor's family on Christmas Eve. This right here was definitely a ProRevenge. Instead of just straight up shooting those pit bulls right in the head, everything was done in a perfectly legal way. Margaret used all of her connection that she has, from police officer to judge to AC officer supervisor. I mean, you never want to mess with someone with such powerful circle of influence. Margaret's neighbor was simply ducking, disgusting and cringy. When Margaret realized that the pit bulls were too dangerous and could have attacked the cat, she notified her neighbor right away to prevent anything bad from happening. But guess what? The neighbor just told her to zip it and start to insult her. Then at the court, they got the nerve to lie through their teeth, up until there was a video footage evidence. And when they finally realized that there was nothing they could do, they begged for her mercy. Guess what? It's freaking too late. The cat is already dead, not severely injured, but dead. They never paid for anything. The garage, cremation of Smokestack. The more I read it, the more I realized how powerful can bad karma be. You thought it would just be, ended this way, right? An eye for an eye, a cat for a dog? Nope. The neighbor got drunk and died in presumably a car accident. Holy crap, like bad karma is just too real, man. That's it for today, fellow humans. Thanks for watching. Dank Doggo appreciates your time. If you enjoy our content and want to see more of us, stay tuned and subscribe. Don't forget to smash that like button or Doggo will cry. Also, you can always tell us your Doggo comments, your experiences in the comment section. I will catch up with you guys later in the next video.